I've always maintained that the Sega Genesis is my favorite old school system, but that doesn't necessarily mean I prefer Sonic over Mario, Shining Force over Legend of Zelda, or anything like that. To add to that, I like to maintain that the better and more well-known 16-bit RPGs have always been on the Super NES, back when Square Enix was still on board with Nintendo. I'm reminded of this fact when I pick up lesser-known RPGs for the Genesis that are not named Phantasy Star or Shining Force, and when I am, it's usually not pretty. If you're like me, when you remember the game Hydlide for the NES, you get a painful knot in your stomach. It's the same feeling I'll get when I'm reminded of Sword of Vermilion for the Sega Genesis, a Sega original that will resonate with most hardcore RPG nuts. To be fair, it's hard to follow in the footsteps of the Secret of Manas and Final Fantasies of its time, but Sword of Vermilion will most likely have you go back to playing either of the two a little faster than you would go back to avenging your father, King Erik V of Excalabria's death, by the hands of the loathsome King Tsarkon, and altogether being the hero of the world of Vermillion. Although this game was developed by legendary arcade game designer Yu Suzuki, creator of Hang On, Afterburner 2, and even the Shenmue series for the Dreamcast, certainly Sword of Vermilion should not be counted among these classic titles, and I'll tell you why. Sword of Vermilion was marketed as an arcade action RPG, when in reality it is indeed an RPG, but with less arcade action and overall exciting gameplay than it was touted to have. You control what looks like a blue-haired meatloaf with plate armor through villages full of shops and townspeople who give you some suspicious advice, like this lady. Sounds like the premise of Men in Black to me. You'll wander around through the Hydlide-like map, which is certainly not a compliment in my case. It's a first-person view of the world around you, which is kind of cool, but the enemy encounter rate, which is frequent and really annoying after the first 100 times you run into a gang of blobs or werewolves with battle gear, ruins the experience. The combat is painfully boring too, if not Sega's way of saying F you to Legend of Zelda fans with a top-down view. The command screen is charmingly old school, but in practice is anything but convenient. Instead of a command button and an equip screen, the menu is separated into every category frustratingly possible. Sword of Vermilion famously promised to do what Nintendon't. I suppose that means it promised to be a forgettable game, and should serve as testament to the fact that the SNES's lineup of RPGs were in fact much better in both production value and fun factor. And that's coming from the Genesis fan.